Hey guys, tonight we're setting sail on a journey through salt, wind and splinters with just enough humor to keep you from jumping ship. You're about to become a rookie pirate in the 18th century, which means three things: bad food, worse hygiene, and surprisingly tender journal entries. Yes, this story starts with you, barefoot on the deck of a creaking brigantine, wondering what the hell you've gotten yourself into. Spoiler alert. You might not survive the first week, but don't worry. You'll get used to the smell, maybe. So, before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. And hey, drop your city and the current time down in the comments. I always love seeing where and when you're listening from. Now, dim the lights, maybe turn on a fan for that soft background hum, and let's ease into tonight's journey together. Your first memory is salt, on your lips, in your eyes, clinging to your clothes like a second skin. The ship sways beneath your boots as if it's breathing. You've only just come aboard, and already your legs don't trust you. There's a dull ache in your back from carrying that sack of soggy personal belongings, most of which were stolen from someone else. If you're being honest with yourself, you're not alone. Around you, the crew is a walking museum of bad decisions. One-eyed cook with a tattoo of a goose. A boy no older than 15 scrubbing the deck while humming a lullaby. A tall, silent man who hasn't blinked since you boarded. No one looks like they've written in a diary in their life. Yet, on your second morning, the quartermaster hands you a small, leather-bound journal. No explanation, just captain's orders. Start today. Ooh, flip it open. Blank pages, a pencil stub tucked in the spine. On the inside cover there's a sentence in elegant script. Write something you're thankful for, even if it's just your toes. Ooh, laugh nervously. Maybe it's a joke. But something about the way the captain looked at you last night. Something tells you this matters. Ooh, right. Didn't vomit during the night. Small winds. From the rigging above, a voice calls out, winds shifting. The ship lurches slightly as the sails catch a new gust. You clutch the railing. You're not sure how many types of wind there are, but everyone else seems to talk about them like they're old friends. Bitter wind, hungry wind, the kind that smells like war, you'll learn. Below deck smells like damp rope and boiled onions. That's where you sleep, or try to. Your hammock creaks like a dying cat, and the guy next to you talks in his sleep, mostly about revenge and butter. Not together, thankfully. And your fourth day, you ask an older sailor, Jem, missing 3 fingers, why everyone's writing in their journal. He shrugs. Superstition, he says. Some say it keeps the devil confused, makes him think you've got plans. Ooh, don't know if he's kidding. Later that night, you write, still got my toes. Thanks, I guess. There's a rhythm to ship life, and your body starts to follow it whether you want to or not. Wake before dawn. Slop water over the deck. Eat something that used to be food. Climb something you're afraid of. Sleep next to a guy who dreams in full volume. One afternoon, a storm brushes past the ship without hitting you. The clouds look like bruises. A sailor across from you grins and says, another one dodged, put it in the book. You do. Didn't get struck by lightning. Appreciated. Historians today still debate whether these journals were encouraged as a form of discipline, spiritual defense, or just mental survival. Some even claim it was the result of a strange mix of Methodist influence and leftover naval regulations. Whatever the reason, there's something oddly comforting about jotting down gratitude in the middle of chaos. Ooh, keep writing. Sometimes it's serious. The cook gave me the last piece of orange. Sometimes not. No rats in my shoes this morning. But every entry, big or small, keeps your brain from unraveling. Because here's the truth. Out at sea, with no land in sight and nothing but sky and salt in every direction, it's easy to forget you're still human. My journal reminds you, or stomach growls before the bell even rings. That's how it works out here. Your body starts adjusting to ship time. Meals don't follow hunger. Hunger follows the bell. So it's your first real breakfast as a pirate, and let's just say, It's humbling. You sit on an overturned bucket, bowl in hand, staring down at what might be porridge, or soap, or both. It's grey, it's lumpy. It smells faintly of old boots and onions. One of the crew members calls it sea pudding. You're not sure if he's joking. Cook, an enormous man named Gulliver with arms like barrels and a voice like gravel, drops another ladleful into your bowl without a word. He has exactly one tooth. It's gold. You consider thanking him, but he's holding a cleaver and not making eye contact. Across from you, Jem's already eating. He doesn't use a spoon, just lifts the bowl and slurps like it's soup. Eat it while it's warm, he says between mouthfuls. Gets tougher once it thinks. Ooh, try. It resists. You chew. It chews back. Somewhere in there, you're pretty sure is a fish bone. You write in your journal later. Breakfast. Survived. Can't say the same for the fish. Airs no sugar. That's a luxury for captains, officers, or people with real teeth. The closest you get to sweetness is hardtack, those infamous biscuits made of flour, water, and regret. They've been in a barrel so long, they're basically fossils. You crack one open and find a weevil inside. Still alive. Ooh, flinch. Jem shrugs. Extra protein. Oh, you eat it. Not the weevil. The hardtack. You flick the bug overboard, which earns you a dirty look from the guy next to you. That's wasteful, he mutters. And so begins the morning ritual. Salt, starch, and silence. But something else happens too. After the food, people linger. Just for a few minutes, some lean against barrels. Some stretch their backs. One guy takes out a tiny flute carved from bone and plays a tune that sounds like a lullaby for someone who's never slept in a bed. And then you notice it. Several crew members pull out their journals. They write quietly. Some fast, like they're trying to get it over with. Others pause, think, stare at the horizon, then write. You ask Jem again, because Jem's the only one who seems to answer you without biting. I breakfast. You whisper. He scratches his chin. Routine, mostly. Grounding, you know. You write something down, it makes the day feel real. Otherwise it all blends, toads the waves, meals, arguments, ghosts. You nod, pretending to understand. Later that week, a storm hits. The kind that turns the sea into something furious and personal. You all make it through, soaked and exhausted. The deck looks like a battlefield. Gulliver sets out bowls of warm something. You eat without question. Then, without thinking, you pull out your journal and write, "Didn't kill us." That's worth something. That's when you realize you're not just surviving meals. You're marking time. Historians still argue whether pirates had formal meal breaks or just ate whenever the weather allowed. The journals, some of them discovered in dry barrels or preserved in wax, suggest otherwise. At least on some ships there was a rhythm, a pause, a shared ritual. And the weird part? Few of these journals actually include blessings. Short lines tucked between grumbles about rations. Stuff like, "Thank the stars for soup. Grateful for the cook's mercy today. Still breathing. Still chewing." Nobody knows if it was irony, habit, or some deeper emotional need. But it's there. You feel it now too. One morning, the sky is perfect, clear, bright, with that kind of golden blue glow that makes you forget you're in the middle of nowhere. Gulliver surprises everyone with dried apple slices. Real fruit. It's the best thing you've ever tasted. Ooh, right. Pull for breakfast. Might cry. Ooh, even draw a little picture of it. Just a slice. Lopsided. But it's yours. You start to look forward to breakfast. Not the food, never the food, but the moment. That weird, silent communion. That reminder. You're here, you're alive, and for some reason, you're thankful. A first time you're sent up the rigging, your legs forget how to be legs. A rope sway. The wind hisses. Somewhere below, Jem yells, "Don't look down," which of course guarantees you look down. And now your stomach wants to mutiny. Ooh, cling to the lines like they owe you money, heart pounding, hands burning from the rough hemp. The mast seems to stretch forever. Up here, the ship feels smaller than a bathtub, bobbing in an endless bowl of soup. Ooh are not built for heights. But apparently being a pirate means being up high, often. You're here to learn the ropes, and they mean that literally. Knots, sails, pulley systems with names like the Widowmaker and Lazy Jack. Everything has a name, most of it mildly threatening. A grizzled man named Cormac is your instructor. He only has 1 lung and 0 patience. The wind's your enemy and your friend, he says, like a cat. Respect it, or it'll toss you into the sea. You ask how long it'll take to get good at this. He squints at you and says, depends how often you fall. Helpful. Ooh, climb anyway. And somewhere between the terror and the ropes that bite your palms, you realize something strange. You can hear the wind talk, whines through the sails, it whistles between the masts, it flutters flags, rattles rigging, tugs at your sleeves like a bored child. The old sailors name it. That's a preacher wind, says Cormac. Full of noise, no direction. Trade winds on holiday today. Utters Jem, eyes on the sail. At one smells like Spain, another man jokes. You laugh, even though you don't know what Spain smells like. Later, when the sail's below just right and the ship glides forward like it's made of silk, someone plays a sea shanty on a concertina. You sit on a crossbeam, legs dangling, and for the first time, you feel like part of the crew. Like maybe you won't fall. That night, in your journal, you write, didn't die today. Thank you, wind. Historians often debate the level of nautical training pirates actually received. Some say it was informal, rough, and mostly improvisational. Others believe certain ships had structured roles and mentoring, especially for those who could climb. Evidence from surviving journals suggests that some captains encouraged sailors to listen to the wind daily and reflect on it in their writing. One particular diary, belonging to an unnamed deckhand, includes a line that always sticks with you. The wind was kind today. I wrote her a poem. Ooh, smile when you read that days later. You haven't gotten poetic yet, but you're starting to understand. There's something weirdly grounding about being up high. Something meditative. Like the air is clearer, the world simpler, when all you can hear is the creak of ropes and the slap of canvas. One day, while tying down a topsail, you spot dolphins leaping below. The sea is sapphire, the sky a perfect egg blue. You pause just long enough to watch, then scribble in your journal. Saw dolphins, felt like they waved. Then, you write more. Something unexpected. Didn't think I'd like this job, but today I did. Ooh, almost scratch it out. Ooh, don't. By now you've learned that the journal isn't just a formality. It's an anchor. Not the heavy kind, the mental kind. A reminder that you exist outside this chaos of salt and sky. A record of what you felt, what you feared, what you noticed. Sometimes it's the only thing that feels real. A wind howls that night angry, cold. You lie awake, rocking with the waves, clutching your blanket. The next morning, you climb again. You're scared, but less than before. Ooh, right, still scared of falling, but I climb anyway. Grateful for stronger hands. Ooh, smile, not because the fear is gone, but because you're learning to move with it. Don't expect pirates to pray. That's just not part of the image, right? Scurvy, swearing, sword fights, yes. Quiet moments of candlelit reflection, not exactly what they show you in those tavern wall paintings. And yet, the night before your first real raid, you find yourself watching a line of hardened, salt-stained men bow their heads in eerie silence. No one calls it prayer. It's too formal, too churchy, but it feels like prayer. It smells like prayer, lantern smoke, damp wood, and something sweet. Dried cloves burned in a bowl for luck. You're below deck, the storm lanterns flicker. Shadows crawl across the walls like restless ghosts. You hold your journal in one hand, pencil in the other, unsure what you're supposed to write. Jem nudges you and whispers, just pick something you're glad about. Something small. You stare at the page. Your heartbeat is too loud to think. Tomorrow, you'll help attack another ship. You've never fired a pistol. You're not sure which end of the cutlass is the business end. You don't even know if you'll puke from fear or seasickness or both. Oh, you write, grateful for my boots, dry inside. Still mine. Sounds ridiculous, but when you look up, the others are writing too. One man, fiercer looking, missing an eyebrow, carefully scribbles something, kisses the cover of his journal, and tucks it into a leather pouch he wears around his neck. Another draws a little picture. You peek. It's a chicken, you don't ask. The captain enters. Everyone goes quiet. Captain Barrow isn't what you expected. No hook, no parrots, no shouting. He's older than most, with a neat beard and a voice like velvet. When he speaks, people listen. partly because of respect, partly because you feel like the ship itself leans into ear. He walks to the center of the room. "Gentlemen," he says softly, "the sea gives and the sea takes, so tonight give her something first." And he takes out his own journal. It's thick, worn, wrapped in cloth like a holy text. He reads aloud, "I'm grateful for this crew. I am grateful for my left leg. And I am grateful the rum didn't run out this week." Everyone chuckles nervously. You feel a little less like vomiting. Historians have puzzled over these pre-raid gratitude rituals for decades. Some dismiss them as exaggerated sailor myths. Others argue they were practical psychology, early forms of stress management. A few suggest they were rooted in syncretic religious practices, where sailors blended folk belief, Christianity, and sheer desperation into a strange kind of spiritual soup. Whatever the origin, journals from several different ships, decades apart, contain eerily similar entries the night before battle. Lines like, "Thankful for the wind's mercy," "Still alive, still mean," "If I die tomorrow, I'll die full, ooh, sleep poorly." The hammock sways like it's trying to rock you out. The creaking above sounds like it's coming from inside your bones. And through it all, you keep hearing the captain's voice. "Give her something first." Dawn, you surface to the smell of tar and tension. Everyone's already busy coiling ropes, checking powder, sharpening blades. You tie a red scrap of cloth around your arm like they showed you. Supposedly, that helps your crew recognize you in the fray. Hopefully, it doesn't help the other crew aim better. Right before the order to close in, you feel Jem press something into your hand. It's a lemon wedge, or luck, he says, and scurvy. Ooh, grin, barely. Ooh, tuck your journal inside your coat, close to your heart, just in case you've written your offering. You've given the sea something first. Now it's time to see what she gives back. Storm hits before the cannon fire. That's not how it's supposed to go. Or supposed to charge in with flags flapping and pistols blazing. That's what Jem told you. That's what you practiced. Instead, the sky cracks open and dumps the Atlantic on your head. The ship bucks like a drunk mule. Every rope turns into a soaked whip. Visibility? You can barely see your own feet. Are clutching a railing that feels like it might rip out of the deck any second. Waves slam over the side like angry theater curtains. Somewhere nearby, someone's shouting. Could be orders, could be screaming. Hard to tell. Isn't a battle. This is a bad mood from Poseidon himself. Ooh, are not the only one rattled. Even the veterans look tense, except one. The ship's Dr. Ellis stands on deck without a coat, without shoes, arms wide open like he's trying to hug the storm. He's laughing. Is he okay? You yelled. Jem yells back, "Is Ellis?" Turns out Ellis laughs in storms, says it confuses the sea. Or maybe himself. Either way, his giggle snorts cut through the thunder like a bizarre church bell, and weirdly it helps. The captain's voice finally booms through the chaos. "Reverse windward. Brace for roll." You have no idea what that means, but everyone starts tying and climbing and pulling with the kind of coordinated panic that only comes from years of half-surviving this nonsense. You do what you can, clutch lines, avoid flying buckets, help someone wrestle a torn sail. At one point, you nearly slide across the deck, catch yourself on a crate, and scream internally the entire time. If your life were a painting, this would be titled "Man with Wet Socks Regrets Everything." Finally, hours or maybe centuries later, the wind shifts. The rain eases into something less dramatic. The sea stops trying to kill you quite so enthusiastically. You collapse beside the mainmast. You are soaked, sore, and probably a few inches shorter than when you woke up. Jem flops down next to you, breathless. I think he wheezes. "I tasted lightning." Liz passes by, holding a mop like it's a violin, humming an off-key lullaby. You're too tired to question it. Later that night, as the crew hangs soggy shirts and wrings out boots, the captain hosts what he calls survival soup. It's mostly beans and something chewy you hope was once alive. But it's warm, and nobody died. That counts as a celebration. All write in your journal, till breathing. Smell like stew. Thankful for Ellis's weird laugh. Across the room, others are writing too. Quietly, soberly. No one says it, but everyone knows. If the storm had gone just a little differently, some of you wouldn't be writing anything at all. Historians have always been fascinated by this part, the emotional aftermath of non-combat trauma. Some argue that the gratitude journaling pirates practiced during and after storms wasn't just for coping, it was an unconscious act of reclaiming control. Others point out that these entries often contain humor, suggesting that laughter and absurdity were as much tools of survival as ropes and rations. All get it now. You write another line, didn't get crushed by the cannon. I'll take it. M peeks at your page and grins. See? You're a real pirate now. Ooh, smirk. Because I didn't die. No, he says, nudging you. Because you noticed. Ooh, stay up a little longer than usual that night, listening to the creaks of the ship, the soft snoring of exhausted men, the flap of wet canvas in the breeze. It's a strange piece, the kind that only follows complete chaos. Before you drift off, you write one last thing. A sea through a tantrum. We danced anyway. You've never seen a hostage up close before. Turns out, they don't all wear powdered wigs and monocles. This one's about your age. Clean fingernails, soft hands, and an expression like someone just told him oysters come from rocks. He's sitting under the aft canopy with his wrists gently tied. Gently because he's technically cargo, and cargo must remain unbroken. A crew pulled him off a merchant vessel yesterday. No one was harmed. The captain says it was a clean lift. You wouldn't call it clean. There was a lot of shouting, one dramatic fainting spell, and someone's hat floated away like a little paper boat of dignity. Still, here he is, a living, breathing symbol of ransom potential. His name is Lyle. He says it like it's supposed to impress you. Lyle of something something Hampshire. He's wearing a shirt that still has buttons on it. You hate how unwrinkled he looks. But here's the twist. He's nice. He thanks you when you bring him water. Compliments the soup, doesn't demand anything. And one morning, you catch him writing his own little book. Ooh, blink. Is that a journal? Isle nods. It's my reflections log. For clarity of thought, my tutor encouraged it. You sit down beside him, holding your own much grubbier journal. What are you writing? He tilts the page toward you. Grateful the pirates didn't shoot me. Ooh, snort. That's fair. E smiles. Grateful the one with freckles brought me stew. Ooh, blink again, is that me? E shrugs, still smiling. Do you have a name? Ooh, hesitate. Not one I'm handing over to a hostage. He laughs a little too charmingly. Suit yourself, Freckle. You both sit in silence for a while, scribbling. Every so often, he says something ridiculous, like how the sky reminds him of an opera or how the salt air is exfoliating. You hate how likable he is. Aita, Jem passes by, gives you a look. Careful, hostages are like puppies. You feed Dame too much, someone's bound to get attached. You wave him off, but you do notice you're writing more now. Not just lists of what didn't kill you, but real things. Grateful for a dry joke from someone technically imprisoned. Talked about poetry instead of knots today. Forgot I was scared for 10 whole minutes. Historians rarely mention personal friendships between pirates and their captives, but here and there, clues show up. In a few surviving letters, former hostages reference conversations, meals, even shared songs with their captors. One famously wrote, "The red-haired one who taught me to swear in 3 languages. Thank you. Ooh, don't swear in multiple languages. Not yet." But you do start swapping stories with Lyle. He's never peeled an orange himself. You've never seen a ballroom. You both agree that eels are horrifying. He gives you a riddle about a fox and a boat. You give him a recipe for shoe stew. One evening, just before the crew plans to trade him for ransom at a coastal outpost, he asks, "Can I give you something?" He tears a page from his notebook. It's a poem. About you. Rhymes. It's terrible. You love it. Ooh, tape it into your journal next to your entry for that day, as called mysterious and brave by a rich boy in ropes. May frame this. To next day, Lyle's gone. Traded for gold and a crate of something labeled pickled assets. You don't get to say goodbye. You're not even sure you wanted to. That night, you write, "Grateful he didn't ask me to untie him." And underneath that, one more line, "Grateful I didn't." Treasure isn't what you thought it would be. Ooh, imagined sparkles, gold coins and sunbeams. Velvet-lined chests with lock mechanisms that click open like magic. Instead, you're ankle-deep in wet sand, digging next to two men who both smell like dried squid and keep arguing over whether this is the right mangrove. Spoiler, it's not. You dig anyway, because the captain said, "There's a whisper of something buried out here." And when the captain whispers, people grab shovels. Jem is with you, of course. He has the kind of energy that makes even digging through crab-infested marshland seem like a casual outing. "You know," he says, "first time I dug for treasure, I found a pair of boots, a dried fig, and a very surprised snake." "Ooh, stop digging." "What kind of snake?" "To light one." "Let me finish the fig." Keep digging. 3 hours later, your arms are noodles, your boots are a myth, and your back feels like it's been personally insulted by Neptune. But just when you're ready to quit, your shovel hits something solid. Unk, everyone freezes. Unk again. Ud. Suddenly, you're energized. Adrenaline kicks in, sand flies. You all heave together, uncovering what turns out to be a small chest. Iron-rimmed, sea-warped, but definitely real. Jem opens it carefully. Side, old coins, real ones. A string of pearls. A ring with a ruby so red it looks warm. There's also a sealed envelope, yellow with age. You hold your breath as the captain steps forward. He opens the envelope. It contains a drawing. A cow. All blink. The captain grins. "Well then, looks like black-eyed Percy finally got his wish." "His wish?" you ask. "Oh, cow," says the captain. "He always said if he made it rich, he'd buy a farm. Retire. Make cheese." Ooh, look back into the chest. Gold, jewels, and a picture of Derry ambition. Jem whistles low. Pirates, man. Full of surprises.
Cool, write in your journal that night.
Found treasure. Got shown a cow. Somehow, that felt right. Historians still debate what pirates actually did with their loot. Some claim they squandered it on taverns and tailor-made boots. Others suggest many dreamed of quiet lives. Buying land, starting bakeries, sending their kids to schools that didn't smell like fish. One journal found in a cave off Madagascar simply reads, "Want a house with a door that doesn't swing." Ooh, understand that now. Treasure isn't just coins, it's what coins mean. Freedom, rest, a life without storms or shouting or moldy biscuits. Later that evening, the captain gives everyone a share. It's not much, 2 gold coins, 1 silver, and a small piece of coral that looks vaguely like a duck. You tuck yours into your sock, which now functions as your bank, right? Grateful for exactly 2 coins and a duck-shaped coral. Considering early retirement. M, laying nearby, mumbles, "You think if I buy a goat, I'll stop getting seasick?" Ooh, grin. Only one way to find out. At night, as the ship sways gently and the sky is clear enough to show a full moon, you realize something. Not the treasure that matters. It's that someone once buried it, not just to hide it, but to hope. To believe in a future where they might come back for it, where they'd plant a fig tree, name a cow after their mother, and wake up not to alarms and wind but to quiet. You all get to touch that hope, even just for a moment. Grateful for the proof you write. That even pirates had dreams with curtains and cows. Who never imagined piracy would involve so much? Letter writing. Today, the captain hands you a sheet of thick paper, a half-used quill, and a bottle of ink that smells like feet. "You've got decent handwriting," he says. "Write this exactly. You don't ask questions." Mostly because the last guy who asked too many got reassigned to Rat Patrol. And trust me, you do not want Rat Patrol. So you sit on a crate, ink-stained fingers awkwardly clutching the quill, and begin transcribing the captain's dictation. It's formal, weirdly poetic. There are metaphors. Sentences like, "Your shipment now sails under new skies. May your heart remain calm like the sheltered cove." Ooh, glance up, confused. "Are we apologizing for stealing someone's ship?" To captain shrugs. Ransom letters. People prefer courtesy. Ooh, raise an eyebrow. He shrugs again. Makes him more likely to pay. Ooh, finish the letter. Handwriting looks surprisingly elegant. You even added a little swirl under the signature for flair. Captain nods in approval. Good. Fold it. Seal it. We'll tie it to the pigeon. The pigeon. Her name is Mabel. She's the unofficial ship secretary. and she tolerates pirates only slightly more than she tolerates sea spray. But she flies fast, and apparently has a great sense of direction for anything involving noble addresses and overdue payments. You watch her take off, letter dangling from her leg like a noble supina. Later that day, another sailor comes to you. His name is Folly. Yes, Folly, real name. He has a chipped tooth and the kind of face that suggests he's always one idea away from disaster. "I heard you write letters," he says. "Transcribe official communications," you reply, trying to sound like you have boundaries. He hands you a crumpled note. "Write this prettier, yeah? It's for someone important. Ooh, unfold it." It starts with "To the love of my life," and also "my second cousin," and only gets more complicated from there. You blink. "Is this legal?" "Unclear," says Folly, "but heartfelt." You do your best. By nightfall, you've ghostwritten 3 ransom requests, 2 poems, 1 awkward breakup note involving a pet parrot, and a formal complaint about the cook's soup. You write about it in your journal, grateful to be the unofficial ship poet. Less chance of getting stabbed. Historians rarely talk about pirate correspondence, but some evidence suggests that ships often employed someone literate to handle sensitive matters. Few letters, preserved in coastal archives, bear beautiful penmanship and a tone that sounds suspiciously tender. Such letter reads, "I darling forgive the delay in my return. Sea delayed me, and the stars misled me, but I carry a ribbon still."
Oh, name.
No location, just the seal of a ship known to frequent the West Indies. Who wonder who wrote it? A captain? A cabin boy? Someone like you? As the moon rises, Jem plops down beside you, watching you scratch out another line by lantern light. "Iting to your future wife." "Iting for someone else's, you say?" E grins. "Or dangerous with that pen, Freckles." Ooh, raise an eyebrow. "More dangerous than with a sword," finitely, he says. Words cut slower, last longer. Ooh, pause. That hits a little harder than expected. You open your journal and jot down, grateful for borrowed voices and the weight they carry. And next morning, Mabel returns, a ribbon tied around her foot. It's navy blue, frayed at one edge. No note, just the ribbon. Ollie takes it, presses it to his forehead, and walks away humming a tune you've never heard before. Ooh, don't ask. Some things don't need to be explained, you just write. Grateful I got to carry someone's hope across the sea. The sea is flat as a sheet of glass tonight. Oh, waves. No wind. Not even gulls, the kind of eerie calm that makes even seasoned pirates stop chewing and start listening. As if the ocean is holding its breath, as if something big is about to happen or already has, or below deck, sitting in a narrow corridor between the cannon racks. Hunched over your journal with a stubby candle, the wood creaks but softly, like the ship's trying not to wake anything. Ooh, right, to a sea is too quiet. Feels like we're trespassing. Suddenly, a thump, a soft, rhythmic tap. Ooh, look up. It's Ellis, the ship's physician/professional weirdo. He's walking barefoot and carrying a bottle of ink in one hand, his journal in the other. He drops down beside you and gestures toward your stubby candle. "Oh, one sleeps when the ocean gets like this," he says, unscrewing his ink bottle with his teeth. "So we write." You ask him what he writes about. "Everything," he says. "Aches, sightings, dreams, weird freckles. Sometimes I sketch cloud shapes and pretend I know the stars." He flips open his journal. It's chaos. Afflegible notes, tiny doodles, anatomical diagrams, pressed leaves, a drawing of what appears to be an angry potato labeled first mate in bad mood who smile. "Why write so much?" He shrugs. "Because when you're out here too long, reality leaks, time folds, days become blur. Journaling is duct tape for the soul." Ooh, nod. You feel that. Ooh, right, grateful for duct tape, metaphorical or otherwise. He points at your handwriting. Your lines are neat. That's rare. Ooh, look down. It's true. Even in the ship's wobble, your writing is crisp, orderly. A tiny rebellion against the chaos outside. Liz adds, "That tells me your head's still tied to your spine." That's a good sign. At night, others begin to drift into the corridor. Some lie against barrels. Some sip watered rum. Most are writing. Nobody talks much. But the silence isn't empty, it's shared. Historians don't fully agree on what these nights meant. Some claim pirates had writing rituals tied to phases of the moon or atmospheric pressure. Others say long calm spells known as dead winds were believed to be omens, either good or catastrophic. While there's no universal consensus, several journals from the era share one oddly consistent phrase. "When the sea stops moving, you write fast, or you forget your name." You believe it, because even now, you feel like the ship is floating on memory, not water. As if time's taken a smoke break, the only thing anchoring you is this journal, these pages, this little ritual of noticing. Glance over at Ellis. He's asleep now, slumped against a cannon with his mouth open, journal resting on his chest like a bedtime story. Look around. Other crew members are nodding off too, not because they're tired, but because the act of writing, just the motion of it, has calmed them. Turn back to your page, grateful for stillness, even when it scares me. Grateful my hands remember what I forget. Blow out your candle, slide the journal into your coat, and lie back against the wall. The ship doesn't move, not an inch. For once, neither do you. Or finally given your own chore rotation and somehow it's laundry. Not glamorous, not heroic, not even particularly paradey. Just you, a stack of filthy clothes, a rope line, and a wooden bucket full of sudsy seawater that smells like regret and lemons. Gems says this is a rite of passage. If you can survive laundry duty without tossing someone's drawers overboard, you've earned your stripes. Stare down at the pile, shirts stiff with salt. Socks that could double as sure reckons. Someone's frilly underthings, possibly follies, though you're too afraid to ask. Laundry on a pirate ship is complicated. There's no room, there's no privacy, and drying things on a rocking vessel requires engineering, prayer, and sometimes rope acrobatics. String the line above deck during midday lull. Sun is high, the sails limp. One sock escapes in the breeze and flutters off like a white flag of domestic defeat. Don't chase it. That sock belongs to the sea now. While scrubbing a particularly suspicious stain, you hear humming. Soft, rhythmic, familiar. It's Gulliver the cook. He's folding a shirt with surprising tenderness, as if it's an old friend. He sees you watching. "Is one belong to a boy named Desmond," he says. "Gone now. Wash it every week anyway." Pause. "Why?" Oliver shrugs. "So I don't forget how it feels to care for something." Go quiet. The soap bubbles feel heavier all of a sudden. You write in your journal that evening. Grateful for the privilege of folding what someone else once wore with love. Historians have unearthed surprisingly rich records about domestic labor aboard pirate ships. Despite their lawless image, many ships had rotating systems for tasks like cooking, mending, and laundry. The act wasn't just practical, it was personal. Clothing meant identity, memory, and even protection against the elements. One preserved diary, a pirate writes, "Today I repaired a sleeve. It had been his. I did not cry. I did not stop either. Start to see the work differently." Folding Jem's shirt. Notice a tiny stitch J near the hem hand-own, probably from before he went to sea. Fold it carefully. Polish a belt buckle until it shines. Untangle a knotted bandana someone wore into a raid, and probably hasn't washed since. Each item tells a story. And strangely, they tell it to you. 8 of that night, Jem finds you hanging a dry shirt across a beam. Folded mine, he says. Fold everyone's, you reply. Yeah, but you lined up the seams, he smirks. That's either affection or sorcery. Roll your eyes. But when you're back in your bunk, you write, "Grateful I'm not invisible, even when I do quiet things." On a particularly foggy morning, you find a new shirt in your bucket, not stained, not crusty. New, fits, sort of. On the collar, someone stitched a tiny star. You don't know who did it. No one mentions it. But you wear it anyway. In that moment, shirt damp, hair windblown, hands still prunny from soap, you feel strangely dignified, like laundry matters, like you matter. You add one last line to your page before sleep. Grateful I have something clean to wear tomorrow. Grateful someone noticed. You wake up to music, not the usual off-key humming or the occasional concertina wheeze. This is different, rhythmic, joyful, intentional. You sit up in your hammock, still half dreaming, and follow the sound above deck. There they are, 6 pirates, 2 barrels, 1 spoon, and a length of rope being used like a fiddle string, and one's whistling. Someone else is attempting to dance, barefoot on sun-warmed planks. It's barely sunrise, and your crew is celebrating. M notices your confusion. He grins. Ship holiday. If what? Every few weeks, if no one dies or sets anything on fire, we get a day to be weird. E explains between dance steps. Most ships, especially ones out long at sea, crews invented their own holidays. No fixed dates. Just vibes. Sometimes to mark a raid gone well. Sometimes to honor someone's birthday, even if no one's sure it's really their birthday. And sometimes, just because they needed it. The captain calls them recalibrations. Today's is apparently halfway to land day. No one knows which land. Or if you're actually halfway, that's not the point. Ellis appears wearing a crown made from fish bones and ribbon. Gulliver's cooking something sweet. You smell sugar and cinnamon and something vaguely illegal. M hands you a drink. Cider. Probably. Ooh, sip. It's definitely not cider. It tastes like apples had an existential crisis. Still, it's oddly refreshing. Ooh, start to relax. There's a game involving throwing spoons into boots. Someone recites dramatic poetry while pretending to sword fight a mob. You find yourself laughing harder than you have in weeks. Ater, you write, grateful for made-up reasons to celebrate, especially the absurd ones. Historians long assumed pirates lived in constant tension, but journals tell a more complex story. Many ships, crews created false festivals to manage morale, mark time, and bond. These events often included music, storytelling, or invented rituals like sock blessings or dancing with the anchor. One logbook from 1724 describes a feast of the left shoe, where every man had to swap footwear with the person he liked least. The entry ends with, "After my ribs begged for mercy, felt human again." Ooh, get that. Today, you watch Ellis crown a sleeping seagull with a daisy chain. Ooh, right. Grateful for ridiculous rituals. They remind us we're more than our jobs. Later, grateful no one made me kiss the anchor, yet. Sunset, the crew gathers on deck. No big speech, no toasts. Just everyone facing west, watching the sun melt into the sea. The light turns the sails gold, the water blushes orange. For a moment, there's nothing to do but exist. Or surprised to find your journal already open in your lap, your pencil already moving. Grateful I'm here for this. That's all you write. That's enough. You knew this day would come, but you still hoped it wouldn't. And one's gone, not in a dramatic, cannonbolt or fetchist kind of way, not even in battle. Just didn't wake up. Old Thatch, the oldest crew member by far, grey beard, 3 teeth, a laugh like a tea kettle passed sometime in the night. Peaceful, they say, in his sleep, journal open on his chest. As if the last thing he did was write something down. You didn't know him well. Not really. He mostly muttered to the stars and offered unsolicited advice about knots and digestion. But the ship feels quieter without him. Less full. Jem stands beside you at the railing. No one's talking much. The ocean's unusually still, as if it knows. A captain leads the ceremony. Airs no priest, no formal prayer, just silence. Then a few words. He kept his hammock tidy, never stole anyone's boots, and could carve a mean wooden spoon. We send him off with honor. Then they wrap Thatch's body in canvas, weigh it with stones, and let him slide gently into the sea. Ooh, flinch when the splash comes. It's louder than expected. Afterwards, everyone returns to work, but softer, slower. The ship has lost a thread in its pattern. Later, you find yourself staring at your journal. Unsure what to write, Liz passes by, notices your hesitation. Not sure how to put it, he asks. Ooh, not. He sits beside you. Start with something small. What you noticed, what you heard. Don't try to explain the whole man, just leave a mark. So you write. Grateful he always carved extra spoons. N. Grateful I overheard him laugh at sunrise once. N. Without meaning to. Grateful he didn't die in a storm. Grateful he got peace. Historians often overlook pirate funerals. Most assume pirates didn't care for ceremony, but recovered journals paint a different picture. Crews often honored their dead in deeply personal ways. Some planted saplings, if they were near land. Others tossed carved tokens or pages from shared journals into the water. One ship is believed to have written an entire group entry after losing a crewmate. A single passage survives. E was mean. He was funny. He once ate a candle on a dare. We'll miss him. A day after lunch, the crew sets a candle adrift in a little wooden box. It floats, somehow upright, flames flickering bravely. You watch until it's just a dot. M finally says, I wish I'd asked him about his tattoo. The one on his ankle, never figured out what it was. Ooh reply, maybe it was just a smudge. Jem smiles. Then that's perfect too. Back in your hammock, you scribble one last thing for the day. Grateful for the reminder. We don't need to be big to be remembered. You tuck your journal close, suddenly aware of how many entries you've filled. How much life lives in these pages now. Somewhere above deck, someone starts playing a slow tune on the concertina. Not sad, just gentle. Musical hug, and you breathe in the salt and wood and candle wax and write. Grateful he went with the stars over his head. Today you trade. Odd gold for goods, not hostages for coin. Something stranger. Ooh, trade secrets. Starts casually just after lunch, when the sun's too hot and everyone's too full to be useful. Someone suggests a game. Truths for truths, Folly says, grinning like a cat with a stolen fish. Everyone gives one secret. You don't have to say who it's from. Or assume it's a joke. It's not. The whole crew gathers in a loose circle on deck. There's no barrel of rum, blindfolds, or oaths. Just people, sitting, sharing. A first confession. Someone here can't swim. Nervous laughter N. Someone here stole Ellis's sugar ration and blamed the rats. Ellis shrugs. They deserved it. N1 that silences the group. Someone here used to be a priest. All glance around. No one confesses. No one needs to. The point isn't to out people. Point is to carry the truth for a while like passing stones around. Heavy, smooth, oddly comforting. Ooh, contribute one too. Not your biggest, but not your smallest. You say, quietly, someone here joined the crew to escape their own name. Oh, one flinches. Jem nods like that one hits home. Later, as people drift off, you ask him, why do we do this? He replies, because the sea forgets everything. We have to remind each other who we are. You write? Grateful for the stories we don't sign our names to. Historians often underestimate the emotional intelligence of pirate crews, but evidence shows that ships, despite their chaos, had their own systems of release, confession games, shared journals, ritual pranks, all ways of processing emotion without hierarchy or punishment. One recovered page from a crew log simply states, the day we spoke of home, not aloud, but in the way we passed the bread. All understand that now. There's a tenderness here that no one names, but it's everywhere. In the way Ellis silently replaces someone's journal when it's ruined by salt water. The way Gulliver always saves the crustiest piece of bread for himself. The way Jem, who teases you daily, quietly mends the rip in your shirt while pretending it was already like that. You add another line. Grateful for quiet kindness, especially from the loud ones. The stars blink into view. Folly reads out the final secret of the night. It's scrawled on the back of a torn chart. E reads, and one here is afraid that if they ever reach land again, they won't know how to walk straight. Nobody laughs. Ooh, don't either, because you get it. You feel it in your bones the way the ship has become your rhythm. Your world. Your anchor. Maybe, just maybe, you're not ready to let go of it. Oh, right. Grateful the sea rocks me gently, even when I don't deserve it. At night, sleep comes slowly, but when it does, it's deep, honest, a kind of rest that comes only after you've unburdened your soul, even just a little. Even if no one knows which burden was yours. There's a map now. Real one, ink-stained, sea-warped, curled at the edges like a pastry. The captain unrolls it on the table with a reverence usually reserved for relics or freshly baked pie. All waters, he says. Lean closer. It's a section of the Caribbean no one on the crew seems to recognize. Jagged coastlines, islands shaped like teeth, symbols with no key. One is a circle with a dot in the middle. Another looks like a turtle wearing a hat. Ollie squints. Are those mountains? Or is someone bad at drawing clouds? M leans in and whispers, could be treasure, could be a graveyard. Could be both. I'm not sure what excites you more. The plan is simple. Sail west, avoid known trade routes. Find the island marked only with the strange turtle hat symbol and figure it out when you get there. Ooh, write in your journal. Grateful for a destination I can't pronounce. Historians still argue over how many pirate voyages were based on actual maps versus rumors. Most believe maps were often hybrids, part cartography, part gossip, part fever dream. One recovered sketch from a 1718 wreck has a compass, several dragons, and a doodle labeled Margaret's soup stand. Our map is somewhere between art and nonsense, but it does something important. It gives the crew direction. Utterly, there's purpose in every step. Sails are trimmed with more care, meals are quicker, conversations are shorter focused. Even the parrot stopped swearing so much. Everyone is aiming at something. So are you. Night, you find yourself tracing the lines of the map with your finger over and over. You imagine what the island might look like? Palm trees? Skeletons? A beach made of glittering shells. Jem, catching you in the act, leans over. Think we'll find gold? Ooh, shake your head. I think we'll find something. Not sure it'll be metal. He nods. That's the right kind of answer. Later, he adds, when we find it, whatever it is, what would you do with it? Ooh, think for a long moment. A bakery, you finally say, or a little bookshop. Somewhere quiet. He laughs. That's the most peaceful pirate answer I've ever heard. Ooh, smile. But it's true. The map isn't about escape or conquest. It's about possibility. About something after all this. You're right, grateful to be sailing towards something unknown. But not alone. Historians often overlook the emotional function of maps on pirate ships. Beyond navigation, maps represented hope. They were physical promises that there was more out there, more land, more life, more meaning. In one 18th century sailor's journal, a map was described as flat prayer, inked proof that we hadn't run out of places to go. All feel that in your chest. Every time the sails fill, every time the ship creaks under new winds, every time the stars shift slightly in the sky and someone quietly adjusts the heading. Or not just afloat now, or en route. At night, you fall asleep with your journal still open beside you. The page simply reads, grateful for the chance to believe in next. Ooh, see land before anyone else. It's early Belloni dawn and you're up on deck alone, hugging a mug of lukewarm tea and pretending not to feel nervous. The sky is a soft bruise of lavender and orange. The sea is glassy. You blink once, then twice ere. On the horizon, a shape, odd a cloud, not a trick of light. Real, solid land. Ooh, don't shout. You don't wake the crew. You just stare, because for a brief, selfish moment, it's yours, or island, your secret. First piece of unmoving ground you've seen in weeks, maybe months. Ooh, right. Grateful for the quiet before discovery. In the other's wake, the mood shifts. Excitement buzzes like static. Ollie polishes his belt buckle for no reason. Ellis tries to comb his hair with a fork. Jem, he just stands at the rail, smiling like someone who finally found the thing they lost in a dream. The island gets clearer, small but green. Palms sway in lazy arcs. A single rocky hill rises from the middle like a knuckle through velvet. Birds circle overhead, and the water around it glows a shocking turquoise. There's no harbor, no docks, no signs of civilization. Just nature, untouched, possibly unbothered. Captain orders a rowboat. Ooh, volunteer. Soon you're gliding toward the shore with Jem Ellis and two others. The oars squeak. The water is so clear you can see tiny silver fish darting below. The island smells like salt and sunlight and wild mangoes. Your boots hit sand. It's real. Ooh, walk up the beach slowly. Every step feels like a commitment. Like you're signing something invisible with your feet. Ooh, laugh when you spot it. A turtle, an actual turtle, sitting near a rock that vaguely resembles a hat. Jem says, guess the map was right. Oh, treasure chest. No booby traps. No ancient altar. Just soft sand, curious birds, and the kind of quiet you didn't know you needed. Ooh, pull out your journal and write. Grateful that some things are exactly as they were drawn. Historians debate the purpose of pirate landings on small, uninhabited islands. Some say they were for resupply fresh water, fruit, repairs. Others believe certain islands were chosen for burials, secret meetings, or symbolic milestones in a pirate's life. One account tells of a pirate crew who made landfall once every 6 months, just to sit in silence under trees. They called it their soul check. You get that now. Or group stays only a few hours, long enough to eat mangoes, refill water barrels, and sketch the coastline. Ellis writes poetry. Folly naps in a tree. You walk the perimeter of the beach 3 times, just to know its shape. Before leaving, Jem carves something into the bark of a palm tree. You don't ask what it is. Ooh, just sit in the sand and add one last entry, today's page. Grateful we came. Grateful we'll go. Grateful I'll remember this. Back on the ship, as the island shrinks behind you, someone hums. It's not a song you know, but it fits. You tuck your journal into your coat pocket and close your eyes, the image of the island still blooming behind your eyelids. Tomorrow, you'll be sailing again. Maybe chasing wind, maybe chasing stories, maybe just staying ahead of the next storm, but today, you arrived. You left something behind. To ship rocks gently beneath you now, not with urgency, not with purpose, just softly, like a cradle swaying on warm wind and tired dreams. You're back in your hammer, journal tucked beside you, the candle burning low. There's a murmur of laughter above deck. Someone strums a lazy chord. Abel the pigeon makes a disgruntled coo nearby, like even she's winding down. Ooh, let your eyes close, just for a second, or hands smell faintly of salt and ink. The pages in your lap, they're full now, not with treasure maps or war stories, but with days that mattered. Quiet days, silly days, days where the greatest thing you survived was your own doubt. And still, you wrote. All wrote yourself into memory. You wrote yourself into meaning. All wrote the way only someone afloat between who they were and who they're becoming ever truly can. Outside, the sea breathes. And somewhere out there on a different ship, or a quiet island, or in the heart of a city that's never seen a sail, someone else is writing too. Oh, now you rest. You're safe. You're remembered. You're real, even if it was all just a dream. Grateful you came aboard.